Good morning. Happy Friday. I sit out here and journal because I took the leap and shared with her how I felt and what I wanted. It was really hard because I come up against resistance really quickly. And so, with enough time being in the resistance, it starts to feel like lies. It starts to feel like not what a person really wants. And it's really difficult in relationship with others, you know. So this is a battle that we face, many of us. The battle between our hearts, our minds, and this desire for instant gratification, for things to be easy, you know, for what feels good versus what is good, which might be very different. And what feels good might not be good. What feels good short term might not be what one really needs or wants long term. You know, we come into contact with this part of ourselves that's shut off or unable to feel. And it's a wound, usually in here. A wound from the mother. Spencer calls it the Ma wound. And many of us have this. Many of us males. I think the feminine has a different wound often. But for me, my wound, and many other men that I work with, it's just being terrified of being hurt by the feminine. So much so that we don't allow the energy to flow through the heart. And so it stays in here, and it stays in here, and this stays numb. And so we learn that as little children, that to open our heart is dangerous and won't end well for us. So we need to protect it because we'll be hurt, and that interferes with what we want later in life, which is, you know, deep connections with others, and possibly even like a primary relationship. Mosquitoes. And so at a point, someone has to challenge this narrative, and has to actually try to dig into there and open their heart and allow someone in and risk being hurt. And it doesn't always feel genuine to do that, you know, because the heart isn't open. And so like the act of trying to open it feels disingenuous. But when you have these moments of clarity and realize that what's underneath there, you have these moments of deep emotion that usually come, you know, when the relationship is done, or when you realize you have some insight and realize what you really want. And so you go and try to do this, and oftentimes, if it's with somebody you've already been with, there's a lot of damage that's been done by what happens when your heart is closed and you're with somebody, with the feminine that's trying to give their heart to you, is that you hurt them. And so that's my story, is that I've hurt her in many ways. So I had to sit there and hear that, and see that hurt in her, what I had done, and admit, take accountability for the things that I had done. And then the long road of reconstruction, which is like a really big stretching of a person to realize what they've been and how they've hurt others, and then make a conscious decision to do different things, which change does not come easy to humans. Change needs to be reinforced by the environment. So if one is going to change and do different things, then then their environment needs to change. The people that they associate with need to change. A lot of things need to change. And that's why recovery works really well, because oftentimes that's what happens in recovery, is somebody changes everything in their environment. People they hang with, the places they go, and so that reinforces change. And so I think for me, my environment has been changing, and the community that I'm involved in is strong men that I can model how to be a strong man, learn how to do that, because I wasn't taught that, what that means, and that's not always being driven by our feelings. When Frank is tending the fire and he feels like he wants to sit down, he doesn't feel like he wants to tend the fire. He doesn't stop. He keeps going. Single-minded purpose. And that's the masculine, a single-minded purpose for the good of the community, the people that he protects. It's not just he. It could be wherever the masculine is activated. So, but the point is that that needs to happen for me in my life every day. Single-minded purpose of growth and healing. Because I know what's on the other side of that. I know what happens when I don't do that. And she's terrified of what I will do if I get to that place, a place where my eyes are roaming, my heart is closed, a place where my mind, being cut off from my heart, takes over with the narrative of her being the problem with why I'm unhappy, and my desire to sleep with other people being the problem of why I'm unhappy, and maybe that's backwards. Maybe that's the solution to being unhappy in that moment, is to soothe myself. And so these are the two questions. What will I do to help her to be secure when I'm struggling? And there's a problem with that question, but that's one of the questions. And then the other question is, how am I going to soothe myself when I feel like I want to fuck other people? And I don't know if I have answers, but that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm writing about this. That's why I'm making this video. And maybe I'll put this on. Maybe I'll start a YouTube channel. Put this on there. The journey to become. So the problem with that one question was that some of that is hers. That it's not my responsibility to help her feel secure. That's her work. That's part of that. And it's a truism that's not true, because it is, I have some responsibility there, being that I damaged her trust. And that I caused real harm. And so I can't separate myself from that and say that it's all her responsibility. That's gaslighting people, you know? It's like, I don't know if it's gaslighting, but it's in that realm where we cause harm to somebody else and then we turn around and tell them that their feelings are their responsibility for the harm we've caused. And that's fucked up. It's not emotionally integrous. You know, because the truth is that we influence others. And so, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna help her to feel secure? Well, my words, my actions have to be consistent with integrity. I need to not speak of, I need to treat it as if she's got a wound there, that as if like she's got a big wound on her arm. And so when I am around her, I will be gentle with that arm. I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to go smack her on her arm. And then be like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot. You know, like if I really care for her, I'll remember if she has a wound on her heart. And that I'll be very careful with these mosquitoes. I'll be very careful with how I handle that. So be very intentional about when we're in public, that I'm present with her, that she's my focus. Be very careful with that my words don't harm her unintentionally, such as I did in the past, talking about exes, talking about her reminding me of them, undermining her sense of security. Okay. So that's the indirect. That's how I need to build her up. I need to build her up through my actions every day. So it isn't about when I'm struggling and she's feeling insecure. It's about filling that bank account so that there's money in it when, you know, something happens. So it doesn't go bankrupt. Okay, that's that part of it. What else? How am I gonna help her feel secure? Well, one piece that I need to change is that I need to allow her to have her experience. To just be there. And not try to change it. And not try to fix it. So if she's hurting and she can't get out of bed and she's feeling insecure, you know, in the past I've done things that really hurt her there. You know? Like, what is wrong with you? We had company over and she was too messed up to communicate with them properly, in my mind. In my mind, I'm thinking, we have this company here. You know, you need to be a host. And she just didn't have the capacity, and so I attacked her emotionally and shamed her for it. for her experience, which was directly related to things that I had done, I'm sure, you know. And that's fucked up. And so that's one area that needs to change is that she needs to be able to have her experience. If she can't be a host, if she can't communicate, if she needs to be in bed, she needs to be given that space. It needs to be treated gently, the same way as if a wound, as if something is broken, and you would treat it gently and with compassion. You don't hit it, you don't shame the person because they're hurt and they can't compete in the fucking race. You don't tell them, oh, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, why can't you just get up and run? I know your fucking leg is broken, but just get up and run. Quit being weak. You don't do that to people. And I've done that to my partners in different ways. So, okay, there's those. I have some ideas there, and I think that needs to be more developed because, you know, a lot of times we don't make these things priority in our lives, and these are the things that matter. Is the messages that our partners and our children are telling us about their experience. Those are the things that matter, and a lot of times those are not the things that we make the focus, you know. A lot of times we make other people the focus. At least I have, and I see this in where there's dysfunction and where there's problems in relationships. It's like the people in the relationships are not valued and seen, you know, for their hurts, you know. And that's why going to a therapist is like so healing, because finally somebody saw me in the relationship. That was her experience, you know. I had a terrible experience of that couples therapist. Her experience was that she was finally seen in the relationship, and that's okay. I can't take that away from her. So, the other question is, what am I gonna do to soothe myself when I feel like I wanna be unfaithful? So I think some of this is is my own work of with myself on a daily basis, of filling up my own. It seems like there's not so much direct solutions for these things, because when they get to those points, it's like too late, you know. If it gets to the point where I'm like full of lust and contemplating sleeping with somebody else, like, it's really hard to stop. It's like if it gets to a point where somebody's ready to go relapse and fucking smoke some heroin or something, like, on the way to the fucking drug dealer is not the place to be where we're gonna practice coping skills and stop. I mean, we could, it's possible, but it's not likely. That's not where like the percentage of our victory is going to be. You know, you could pull over and call somebody and maybe break that flow of energy that's moving forward, right? With addiction, it's like it's buzzing, and it's fucking got a grip on people at that point, whatever the addictive behavior is. And it's like breaking that, disrupting that is really difficult. You could do it, but it's really difficult, you know. There's something driving it behind the scenes. There's something driving it, and oftentimes there's a disconnection between what is driving it. I think maybe I'll make a second video on this. I think this one's getting a little too long. Okay. Like and subscribe. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this, but if I do, start a channel. Maybe I will. The journey of becoming. not a bad idea. Be very, it's a lot of self-disclosure for a YouTube channel, so we'll see.